it changed a lot. And you know what? It's still changing. Life is so interesting, you know. Um, After the head injury and the near-death experience, um, it took a long time to kind of get back into a flow of life. Everything was just completely upside down and changed around. And so when I bring us to here today, and I look back to that time before and then shortly after, it's just astounding how much has changed. It's most wonderful. Most wonderful. It is, I think, a very good way to describe it. And it just keeps getting better. For example, you know, for a long time, I used to explain to people that my near death experience took me out of the density of my body to a place floating out there somewhere. And what I have come to see even clearer is this, that me inside, that energy that's inside that releases after we change from this dimension and go to the new place, the heaven. Uh, it's what Jesus meant when he said, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. And it always is and always will be for pretty much everybody, I think. So that which left me and went out there, it was inside me, it was always the kingdom of heaven. And that's why each one of us here is within and has within the kingdom of heaven. And that's amazing. It's amazing, you know. My life before was really, I think, a good way to explain it. Like being on a hamster wheel. Everything was just so fast paced. And it was really the experience of wake up in the morning, go to work, come home, make supper, watch a little TV, go to bed. And it was the repeat of that. And literally, it was being in that loop, that unending loop of moving through the motions and never really getting to live who and how I really am, what I am, you know, where we always ask this question, what am I? Who am I? And it's a wonderful thing that humans are asking this question because it's a very important one to know who you are. Who am I? Um, as long as we're in the loop of this same thing day after day and never stopping to see who we are inside, it's that again is the loop that humanity has been in for thousands and thousands of years. The loop changes in time frames in history, but it seems to be this loop. And I quite firmly believe that humanity being in this loop is not a coincidence, that we have been placed in this loop to keep us from ever knowing who we are. As long as we're in the loop and we're not feeling and we're just doing, uh, unmindfully doing each day the same thing over and over, then we will never truly find out who we are. We'll just be worn out at the end of each day from the experience of racing through time and never stopping. See the joy and the love that we truly are with heaven inside of us. You know, it's really profound when you can stop and see this. Yeah, it's intense and it's very chaos, isn't it? And it's chaos, all of those things. But that's the outside world, right? But when you go within, if you can find that peaceful place within, then you become not part of the chaos. And people experiencing the chaos are kind of still lost in the loop. The loop is not how humanity is meant to live. So it it won't change until things get very intense and people realize I'm not going to live like this anymore, right? As long as things are moving along in a way that you just do and then you're exhausted and you go to bed and sleep and you get up and do and you're exhausted and you go to bed and sleep. People are not really allowed to do that anymore, are they? Because it's so chaotic in the world that people have to stop and say, I don't want this anymore. Whether it's the way the government is leading or whether it's the way Hollywood is acting, all these things, people are suddenly saying, I don't want this anymore. Hopefully, this will bring them within to find out that once you find peace within yourself, your outer world is going to change. So I don't watch much news at all because watching the news takes me into that chaos. And it's not that I don't want to know about it because I do know about it. I know exactly what's going on and how people are feeling because we are all one and our consciousnesses really do touch one another. So even not even watching the news, I being an empath and many other things, I can feel often how and what is going on in society without watching the news. I just know. Um, it shouldn't be viewed as a negative thing. It should be viewed as something happening that is going to wake humanity up to the reality that they're just not going to put up with it anymore. The void is something that also we can experience here anytime. But when I experienced it in my near death experience, it was just the perfect space of no time. Time was just not there. And that's a concept that's hard for people to kind of get if they haven't experienced it. When there is no time being experienced, uh, it's just a perfect place to be and to float. So whether you're out there or whether you're here, if you can experience that void of timelessness and perfect alignment, your body is just in a perfect alignment with everything that truly is, with the I am inside that you are. And so being in the void, whether we're when we're out there, is just kind of a natural thing. But here in our body, when we can reach a point of feeling this void, it takes away and is an experience of having really no reason to feel pain or to be feeling like things are anything other than they could be at this moment. So I think things are always unfolding just as they were meant to. I think that the divine or God, however you want to call it, um, is always like 100 steps ahead of everything and anything that's going on in life at this present moment. And so the void allows you to see and to feel this way of being in a flow where everything is just fine. You have nothing really to worry about because there always is a greater guiding force that is loving you and leading you and protecting you. And so the void allows you to feel that flow. It's just kind of this nothingness that is everything. It's a flow um, of really perfection, and it's a way that we can be here as well in a flow in this knowing that there's really not a lot that you have to do. You are here, and our main purpose is to be in joy, really. And we've just forgotten all this. The main things for a human to do here in the now is to uh, experience life by doing things that really light you up. And so if we're here and we're experiencing life on the hamster wheel and we are not feeling joy, then we are truly not tapping into what we can tap into as a human being. And it's fine, for people who go through life like that, uh, that is maybe their path. And that is maybe where it's supposed to be right now here at this time. But maybe it's the perfect time for any individual to look and to say, hmm, there might be a better way to live. And then you can feel that and know that it's the perfect time for you to move into a new understanding of who you are and what life can truly be for you here and now. If we're here and we're just doing the 9 to 5 and the rat race, uh, I think we're in a state where we are controlled by something other than God, maybe. And what that means is that I, I truly believe that for eons here on earth, we have been under a spell of forces that want to control with power instead of forces that want to be in a state of love and in a flow of love. So we have this possibility of the world being controlled by those who want to be in power, or a state of the world being controlled by the power of love, really. And so if in fact this is true, if there's been this kind of hijacking of how and who humans should be, then that should not scare us. That should tell us that we only need to understand that and to face it and to let it know that that's not going to be the way for this world anymore. And of course, I said that we are always controlled, we are always in the hand of the divine, and we are guided and protected and loved. So, knowing that, we should know that the love of power is going to come to an end. And I think it's coming to an end in the here and now, here on earth, which is really a fantastic thing. To think of this time as a time when the love of power is going to be uh, no longer where the elite is no longer going to be controlling humanity, I think is what I really want to say. Um, and how that is coming to be is, as I said before, the divine is always maybe 1,000 steps ahead of any idea that these people who believe that they can be in control and in power here on earth. So if that's the case, then it makes sense that we would reach the end of an era where the elite have control, have power over humans. Um, it's a big topic, but I think it's an important one for people to recognize. And it comes back to this loop that I was talking about. As long as we can be kept in this loop, then we will not reach a higher elevation of awareness, of consciousness, because the loop is fear and anger and all of those emotions that are human and they're fine, but they're not human and they're not fine if we're being controlled by something other than love and the power of the divine. I think the way that we've been controlled is through fear. And so the first thing that we as humans need to do is understand how we are put into this place of fear and looping with traumas and um, ways of being that don't allow us any peace. Because we should be able to live with peace inside and stillness. When we have peace and stillness, we have won any game that might be going on. It completely takes um, the oomph or the control away from the elite. It sounds simple, but it is a bit of a process to stop looping, stop fearing. That doesn't mean you can't feel fear, because we all have a little bit of fear of some things, but to not be in the loop of having fear from traumas from our childhood and traumas from yesterdays that we don't need to be hanging on to. We need to process those and let them go and get ourselves out of the loop, which puts us back in a position of being completely and totally in control of the loving ways in the world, instead of being controlled by fear and anger. And the elite being in power is contingent upon us giving away our control, which essentially is giving away our sovereignty. And we give away our power, our control, in ways that we don't even realize we're giving it away. We give consent without really knowing that we're giving consent. But once we've given consent, then they have the universal laws allow them to have the power to uh, come in and mess with us. And so understanding how it is that we give away our power is very important. So lots of things we watch on TV, give them our consent so that they can move in and keep us in a loop, keep us under the illusion that we are not powerful beings. And an actual physical way that people here on earth who are part of the love of power group, the way that they can gain our way that we can lose our sovereignty and they can gain the ability to have access to us and our energy is if they say something to a human being like this: just let me take care of you. I will take care of everything and you will be fine. That is giving, if we agree to that, that is giving away our power right there. So we watch TV and we watch things that are fear-based. We give away our power that way. Someone can speak to us. And we see a lot of this happening in Hollywood, where I think actors are placed under, and singers too. It's in all industries, but actors and singers are main targets for the elite to want to control. And we're seeing a lot of that coming to a head, and the cruelness that seems to be behind it coming into the courtroom now and being under judgment here on earth. What happens in that situation is simply what I have said to you. They come to these people and they say, let me take care of it all. You won't have to do a thing. And as soon as you do that, you give away your sovereignty and they move in, and then things are very much out of our control. And nobody told us these things, these ways of giving away our sovereignty. So it's really important for us all to understand that we are sovereign beings and get back to being sovereign beings, which is basically having our own energy clean and clear, being in alignment with the divine instead of with elites who have control over us. What a wonderful question and a wonderful exploration. And it can be as simple as just giving up the illusion that you need to fight and do it on your own. Calling God back into your life, the divine, however you feel comfortable saying it. And saying, you know what, I know I can't do it on my own. I need your help. We all have angels around us. We have dragons. We have unicorns. We have a whole army of wonderful, wonderful, different dimensional beings that are just waiting for us to ask for their help. And so it can be as simple as that for some people. Um, and I was one of them. For some people, they are so held by these other forces that it takes more than that. But for a lot of people, it's just simply stepping into the energy of asking for help and learning some things like how to ground yourself, how to center yourself, how to align yourself with the divine. These are things that we can physically sit and do ourselves once we know how to do it. And it just brings our energy back to our core self. We release all of those energies that maybe have attached to us because we know that in being energetic, it, perfect energetic vessels is what I like to say. We are in a flow that touches other people all the time, and we entangle with things that we didn't even know or mean to entangle with. And so once we learn how to push all that out and bring back our own power that we've given away or that has been taken unknowingly, once we send back energies that we don't want and we call back the energy that is us, that's how we clean up and realign ourselves with the energy that we are meant to be here and experience. And it's funny because some people touch into feeling their essence sometimes. They'll be sitting listening, and what they're doing basically is exactly what Jesus said. They're being peace and inner stillness. And the universe just unfolds answers to anyone who can be peaceful inside and be still. As soon as you're peaceful and you're still, and that is without thoughts, basically, the universe unfolds secrets to you. And that's a good one for people to know. So it can be as simple as that, getting still and putting out your intention and your requests to the divine and to the army of love that's around you, really.
So we have army of love, and then we also have dark forces, right? It's just
Yes.
we decide who we want to connect to and who we're going to let into our space or energy.
Yeah, we decide, and very often we're fooled into. So it can be either one of those things. Want to people are told things that make them feel like, oh, it's my own damn fault. And it's not always your own damn fault. Sometimes it is, but it's not always that at all. And that's what we've talked about, the fact that um, cleaning and clearing your energy is a big help. And that things can happen that we don't even realize we're giving consent. All these things are going on. But just coming back to the knowing that we are dark and we are light. That's our yin and our yang. But not be fooled into this believing that we need to be out of balance with that, basically, is what it is. Bringing that back into balance. And we don't have to think of it as dark forces that are controlling us. And, I really want to say this because today, May 30th, 2025, is a very special day. It's a day where things are being balanced in ways that you and I cannot see with the human eye. Things are happening. I think the elites, which is a big part of dark forces that are um, controlling us in ways that make us feel completely out of alignment with who we are inside. And so that I don't think we're going to experience the darkness the way that we have experienced it up till now. I think people are going to have to clear and clean their energy for sure. But I don't think that those forces are going to be here in a way that I don't think they've ever been here in a way that anybody needs to fear. However, that being said, as humans, nobody has taught us or told us that. And so we fear it. We don't need to fear it because we have this vessel that we're here as can do so many amazing things. We just didn't know it. I mean, we can bring light in and balance ourselves. We see miracles around us, but we are miracles. Each and every one of us is capable of things that would absolutely blow the mind of pretty much every human here on earth. Even before I had my near-death experience, I know I'm a very, very old soul, and I am coming back to the remembering of wisdom that I didn't know I had. And that's kind of a topic probably for a different discussion because it's delving into things that are really deep, like dragons and how souls are created and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think we're going to go there today. But anyway, um, I know about fear. I know about giving away your sovereignty and not realizing it and the things that can happen. I know that so deeply. I have lived in so much fear until I was given the remembrance of who we are. And once you realize who you are, you will never fear those forces again because you've won before you even go to the table to meet them, basically.
So, are you able to give us a brief description of what happened when you had your near-death experience?
Sure. Yeah, we haven't really gone there, have we?
No.
So, what happened, and I can explain it really fairly quickly because it was there and gone in what seemed so fast. Um, I slipped on ice and basically I tried to catch myself. So I put my foot back and tried to clamp my heel on, and my foot just slipped forward, put the other foot back. And so I got myself wound up and my feet flew in the air and I came down head first on the ice. And it knocked me out immediately. And the first thing that I experienced was this peace and this stillness that we talked about. And I could see without human eyes, and I could hear without human ears. It was just in the space inside of me, right? In the kingdom of heaven, inside of me, basically. And I had this thought of, where am I? And then I thought, oh, I'm here. Like I just knew where I was. And so it was okay. There was no fear. I was just there and I was kind of looking around with the eyes that we have that are part of the soul. And I was not aware of what had happened, like aware of the fall. At that time, I was just in that space of peace and stillness. And then suddenly, um, it was like the air of a balloon coming out. I just went up and expanded in every direction, just floating in a beautiful, gentle, floating way. And um, it was fairly dark, and I didn't, like, lots of people have near death experiences and they see people. And my grandson wanted to know if I saw any dinosaurs. I said, nope, sorry. uh, I didn't see a whole lot in that way uh, because it's energy, right? It's energy. And what you see as energy is very different than what you see as human, from my experience. And as I floated, I felt so good. And what I felt was the same essence of me when I'm here, but it was like 100,000 times bigger. The feeling was so good that all I could think was I could just stay here forever and need nothing else. That was the most profound feeling of knowing that just right there was everything. And it was nothing really, but it was everything. And nothing more was needed. And so I floated in this really expanded state and felt really perfect. Um, and then I had a thought. I thought, what about my, and I don't know if I had the thought or if the thought came from outside of me. I don't know how to describe it. There was a thought that came through of, what about your daughters? And my response to that was, oh, yeah, they still need me. And I could see the big ball of white light coming towards me. And it was coming towards me really fast. And I seemed to know that I needed to make a decision quickly. And as soon as I made the decision that I needed to come back, my daughter still needed me, that was the only thought that was there. Then immediately I was and right back in my body. Didn't even experience that feeling of oh yeah, I'm here, that quiet, peaceful. I was just back pretty much as a human. And I could see uh what wasn't there before, like light coming through my eyelids. So it was really back to the present. And that was my near death experience. It was actually Good Friday when this happened. So it was really quiet. There was nobody around. And I had to figure out what, get some bearings and do what I could do to get myself into safety, into what I needed. When I came to, uh, my feet were stuck up over my shoulder. And it took me a long time to figure out why. Why didn't my feet fall down? My purse had lodged underneath me. So it had me pushed in that way that my feet stayed up there. And so I wasn't getting very much oxygen at all. I was getting some, but not very much. And I couldn't move. All I could do was scream in my head, feet down. Remember that. And it took a while, but I did. My feet finally responded and went up and down to the ground again. And then, excuse me, I was able to um, get my feet down, and I was able to get some oxygen. So I just laid there and breathed, just sucked air in as hard as I could. And eventually I was able to get myself up, and I just felt like I was walking on wooden pegs. My legs did not feel like part of me at all. It was very strange feeling. And I got myself to the car and phoned my family, and they came to pick me up and took me to the hospital. Yeah, I was in a very difficult place, recovering from concussion for a long time. And that's really a quite an experience to um, come back from a concussion. You've probably seen and heard of lots of people who have an experience and a difficult time returning back to who they are. And some people never do. I came from a very, yeah, I've had a very difficult, very traumatic life with a lot going on. And I think as a soul, I look down basically at what was happening here on earth with people and what was happening with children. And I decided I'm going down there to do something about this. And I came um, I came into a family that was very dysfunctional. It's a good way to put it. And I don't really want to go into a lot of this here and now. I think it's a discussion for another place and another time. But I think I came here to change things. And I think that I come back to these elite again because they had, from the day I was born, a lot of control that they placed over me. And I've lived with that most of my life. Um, why did I experience the head injury? I honestly believe that there have been many times in my life that there have been attempts to wash me away, to not have me be here. My light is very bright, and it was noticed when I was born. And they maybe even knew I was coming because what was around me was really, let me just say, reptilians were real. Most of them are gone, but they are real. They were real. And they have children, and their children are still trying, but their children, I'll just put it that way. They haven't been able to take me out. And I'm very happy to say I'm still here at this time, here on this date when things are changing, when a lot of that deep darkness is just being shut down. Well, again, it was an experience of going through things where a lot of people were actually telling me, first, they were telling me, you don't have a head injury, you're fine. And I was saying, no, things are not good here. I'm having a lot of trouble. And then as I was beginning to feel better, they were saying, oh, this is a bad head injury that you've had. And you are going to be disabled for the rest of your life. You are basically um, challenged now. And in my head, I said, no, that's just not true. Uh, and holding fast to a belief and having faith and trust in the divine is what I did. I really went there deep. I just thought, that's just not true that this will be uh, a way of life forevermore. I'm just going to heal and heal and heal. And I actually, I do a lot of healing for people. And I've had the ability all my life, but I lost most of ways that I was connected for a long spell within my life. So I came in with uh, a lot of gifts, and then those gifts were put away, pushed down, gone for a good majority of my life. But now I'm back to the who I am. I know who I am, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know other people are very much capable of a lot more than they know as well. But anyway, after the head injury, I just knew, have a deep faith and a deep trust that all would be fine. And when we have deep faith and deep trust, God knows and God responds to that. Anything is possible, absolutely anything. If you put your intentions and your mind to it, there are miracles happening all the time, everywhere and anywhere. And so when you have a deep faith and you have a deep trust, some people say you can move mountains, and really you can. And so that is how I got through it. Fear though, um, I told you it's been a big one in my life. It's been a really big one. But now I just see everything that has happened in my life has honestly been for me. And it has not just happened to me, it's been for me. for growth of my soul, for an intention to make changes here on earth. And you just can't feel the same about unfortunate things that have happened to you when you start to when you stop blaming other people and you start to understand that it's all happening for you, not to you. And I used to hear that, and I had a long time of really getting to understand what that meant. It's happening for you, not to you. But that is how life unfolds. Everything in every moment is happening for you, not to you. Because I think that truly is what we are here for, is to grow our soul more and more, and to, well, if you want to please God, you just move into the joy of life. It really is that simple. And so when you follow your joy and your laughter, and you heal your inner child and the things that have gone on, and you stop blaming other people and you forgive, it just becomes a wonderful experience. It doesn't mean that there aren't still challenges, but you just don't hang on to those challenges in the same way, because you have a trust and a faith, and you just know that everything is going to be okay. You just know that no matter what happens. I think the ego honestly is the mind. And I think the mind was never meant to be the controlling factor inside of us. I think our heart is meant to be what leads, not our mind. And so when we learn to control, or when we learn to teach our mind that it is not in control, that our heart is what we lead with, then the ego or the mind becomes something different. It becomes The ego and the mind becomes something that is kind of like information that can be helpful, instead of that which can just knock us down in fear. And it's pretty easy to lead with our heart and to teach our mind what its place is, really, what its responsibility is. So when the ego and the mind understands that it does not have to be standing at the forefront and taking control of everything, and excuse me, the heart steps into its role, which is the power of love, right? Then you're golden, really, because you're leading with your heart, and the things that your mind comes up with no longer controls. And, I think even our mind, our thoughts can be affected from the outside if we allow that. So a lot of times, thoughts that we're having might not even be our own thoughts. And that's kind of a mind-blowing thought as well, because um, we like to think of ourselves as, you know, this being, and it's this density that we see. We think, well, this is all we are. So if I have a thought, of course it's my thought. No, it's energy and it's flow, and thoughts are very fluid. So I'll give you an example, because this one is so powerful. And this story I heard in a public platform. So though I would never say who said it, it was put out there in a way that is not private, because I would never share something that someone told me in confidence of it being kept silent. So this woman told a story about having her baby, and she was in the hospital, and she was feeling just all the wonderful, wonderful feelings about becoming a mother, and the love, and it was so profound, and she was so happy. And all of a sudden she had this thought, oh, Why don't you just throw that baby out the window? And she was horrified. And we do have these thoughts roll in and we go, is that me? If I can think that, I must be some kind of a monster. No, it might not have even been your thought. It might have been an entanglement with an energy that was around. And so you stop and you tell your mind, no, that's not for me. That's not of me. And you go back to your heart. You drop your thinking back to your heart, which says, I'm a mother and I'm in this state of profound ability to enjoy my baby that I just gave birth to. And once you shoot that thought from the mind that wanted to torture you and you go back to your heart, it's fine. So we don't, here's the very um, significant statement. You don't have to believe any of your thinking if you don't believe the thought resonates with you. Does that make sense? You don't have to believe anybody's thinking if the thoughts don't resonate with you. Drop them, go back to your heart. Well, you just said the statement to trust the process. That's what I say to people is it's just so important to understand that and to just not attach to these ideas and really not attached too much. Don't attach in a way that makes you feel so vulnerable that you are not able to function and do the things you want to do in life. And so, love, don't be afraid to love, but don't lose yourself. Go in and find self love that is so profound that is between you and the divine, really. That love, nothing can ever destroy you. Nothing can ever take you down. Doesn't matter what happens. And people are always so concerned. Um, how is my spiritual journey going? And am I doing the right things? Am I learning the right things? But there's been so much crap laid out in front of us that it's not a wonder we're confused. Because you might hear, um, clean and clear your energy, but don't clean and clear it too much. You might clean and clear what you really need. Oh God, well, what do I do? Which which do I resonate with? So develop your intuition. And our intuition is such a big, big part of our spiritual growth. Our intuition is feeling and trusting gut feelings, feeling and trusting our body of what it's telling us, feeling and trusting thoughts that come from the heart, feeling and trusting, letting go of what does not sit right with you from the mind. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, intuition is so big, so huge, and so simple, but we make it complex by not trusting ourselves, not trusting the things that our body and our spirit and our soul are telling us. And when we lose trust and faith in that, then we get confused. But don't worry because all of that complexity of confusion it's honestly it's leaving. They wanted us confused, they wanted us in chaos, and they kind of got their way for a long time. But this vessel of ours can connect with the stars. It can, where do you even begin? We're just such magical, miraculous beings. It's said that through the universe, the human being is looked at with such awe because we have the ability with our energy and our light to resonate with things that are so profound, and so like people look for technology to bring in energy, and we're the perfect vessel. Like even if you look back to, yeah, excuse me, days when uh we see in history all these churches and these pyramids and places that had uh, perfect energy flowing into it. And what we don't recognize is that we as humans are all that and more. We can bring in energy in ways that will sustain us and will help us grow and allow us to just be profoundly self-sufficient and perfect. Um, Even water, like water. If you if you take your water and you, well, let's just do it. You give it love. Tell it you love it. Like water contains so much knowledge. And this vessel of ours really, really likes water because we are a lot of water, right? Our,
Mm-hmm.
our body is, the physical body is a lot of water. And if you tell your water you love it and you bless it and ask it to give you um, all the nutrients that you need to be healthy and abundant, and you send it love and abundance for itself, the water tastes different. The water becomes different. We can do these things. We can do these things. We just didn't know it. God is everything. Most important life lesson I've learned in this life is nothing pleases God more than me loving myself and me loving him or her. And it really is a venture of coming here and being and living in ways that are pleasing to us as well as to the divine. And so uh, when we trust and have faith in that we can do that, then it'll be a great venture here. And just trust and have faith. Just believe in the power of love and believe that the love of control is gone. It is no more. We will see a lot of chaos as it's pushed aside, but really the as Jesus said, the the meek will inherit the earth and the righteous will lead. That's where we're going. So don't worry.